Welcome, welcome. This is my second Warhammer 2 video, so 2 for 2s, you know. We're going to walk you through starting up a new campaign as our good new friend Rakarth here. So we're going to do Mortal Empires. He starts in basically the same location on both maps, actually. While some of the Dark Elves move around quite a bit, Rakarth is kind of just on Albion. So pretty nice. Big difference for him between the other Dark Elves, he gets these monster pens. We're going to walk you through how that works. And then his forces do not receive vigor penalties in raiding stance. Typically there's a 25% reduction in your vigor. So when you enter a battle, you have some stat penalties. And your troops tire more quickly. And then last but not least, you get minus 10% upgrade on monster units. His Lord effects are pretty lame comparatively. But I think it's actually pretty balanced because his unit is a little bit whacked and that it crosses over to so many different factions, and we'll show you how that is. So, you haven't seen the intro for all the other Dark Elves except for the Tsarkan demon backstory. They're all pretty much the same. Just an introduction to Malekith having murdered the duly elected High Elf King. And the rest of it I won't spoil for you. But you watch that in Age of Vortex campaign. I do recommend playing Vortex if you haven't played much, just because it gives you a better storyline intro. Gives you better detail on the map that is applicable there. And then the Norska is just so much more intense in this map than it is on the other map. And as I've said in my 5 tips for beginners, just ignore what he tells you. He just hates you. He just wants you to be miserable. Okay, so biggest thing, you're gonna get these crew objectives. Best way to get money. Notably, you do get sorceress, a beast sorceress. I always recommend just importing these heroes directly into your Lord's army at the very beginning of the game, and then you go ahead and make a move on the army it's pushing you to make a move on. And whenever it's this close, you know, often just quick save here, but then auto resolve. Pretty easy, not a lot of dirty there. We'll just take the slaves and the captives. Whenever you have these battles with high casualty rates, though, you're going to unlock monster pens that have all of these different monsters as options. You get them whenever you do battles in certain climates. So harpies are where you start off with. So anywhere that dark elves live, so northern climates to the west, you're going to get a lot of harpies. You can also get from them black dragon, war hydra, and bloodwrack medusa. And then down south you have the feral manticore and Charybdis units. So those are black elf. Makes sense that he still has access to all of those. Then you get lizard men, have the feral carnosaur. Norska have feral mammoths. Lizard men have stegodons. Giant wolves for Norska. And then feral cold ones are across a lot of different factions. And then explosive squigs are from goblins, because, you know, why not? Alright, now into his abilities. He has this whip of agony that's pretty nuts. You get increased campaign movement range, weapon strength is increased, attacks cause discouraged effect, reducing leadership, so not as bad as terror or fear, but same kind of idea there. The melee attack goes up by 8, and then he gets his ability, Whip of Agony. It's a hex, lasts 29 seconds. You target an enemy within 75 meters. Entity size must be large, so it has to be like a large unit. So notably this would be like big monster units, like the ones you recruit in your beast pens. Could also be a hero uh, riding a beast, you would think, but it does say cannot target if unit is lord or hero. So this is like really primarily used against the massive units that opponents use to cause terror and fear themselves. But here you're going to reduce their melee defense with 24, which is a pretty big removal. Then you're gonna, I'd say for most large units, it's probably gonna be about 25%. They usually scale around 70 to 100. So you're getting at least a 25% reduction in melee defense there. And then you remove the terror and fear defects that come from those monsters. So your troops will no longer be terrorized by these enemy monsters. Instead, you can get to work killing them. So he's kind of this big anti-beast dude. You can level up through Scourge Runner Chariot, Manticore only at level 9, and then Brachus as Black Dragon by level 16. So pretty quick. I'd say he's kind of on par with Imrik from High Elves in that regard, because you get these monsters really quick. Or Tic-Tac-Toe, Talaka from Lizardmen using the pterodactyls. You get a lot of these cross synergies with certain factional creatures that are pretty cool. And then you kind of ramp up here through Eternal Hatred and Beast Tamer. It gives you this big charge bonus on all of your beast riding monsters and the monsters themselves. And then everything else here is pretty standard. I will say the one other thing that changes here, you get the Sea Dragon Cloak, which a lot of the heroes have. And then you get Beast Slayer finally, where you get this big damage versus large units. So you get bonus versus large, armor piercing damage, and base weapon damage goes up by 25% as well. So pretty good. It is an augment that lasts for 17 seconds, so you have to use it. It doesn't just kind of perpetually stick on him. Everything else is the same. For Dark Elves, only other thing, you get this Strength through Spite, which is passive, plus 5 attack for 30 meters. And then Steel Will, it's going to give negative leadership to enemy monstrous units. Passive ability, Beast Lord's Presence, changes up from Beast Lord's Gaze. And you can stop Rampage. So you kind of get some Rampage control there, makes sense. And then Apex Predator is his big one. You get +3 rank for monstrous units, all armies faction wide. So there's this kind of deep entrenchment into beasts. I personally think this makes a lot of sense for Dark Elves. They really needed somebody to bring some juice. Now, me personally, I've recommended this before in my prior video, but I like working up to lightning strikes. I also really like, Fleeting Shadow can be good on the defense. It's much better for like Alithanar and elves or for rats. And they just nerfed the ambush attack chance when you're in stock, so you have a much harder time of actually getting the ambush attack. So definitely worth investing in for those trees. But here I actually really like Elven Healing to reduce attrition, but the replenishment rate is really quite nice. And then Renowned and Feared is quite good. You get increased movement range, self-defense, and then rank increase and upkeep costs go down. So that can all be really helpful. All right, now I've walked through his character. Let's show you some gameplay. I love the Dark Elf leader. I love the Dark Elf research tree as it just begins with choose or die. So boring. And then for those of you who aren't aware, his voice is actually voiced by the same voice actor that plays Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones, which for me doesn't really fit all that much. Like his voice sounds a little weird. He's a smaller person in this giant dark elf body, but hey, who am I? And then here, kind of keep an eye on your public order. Here I'm getting some major hits from the slaves, corruption, taxes. Not much from the chaos. The chaos is going to come to burn me here. But I also don't like to upgrade things that go above 3. So instead here, I'm just going to start investing in some income. This is not a faction that has a lot of income synergies in this leader. So, you know. And then the beast tree is like really one of the worst in my opinion. You know, it's just not that cool. And you get Dark Pegasus, which is fine, but that's like what Morathi gets. Again, mediocre. Instead, I like investing in the scouting and the public order. Passive buffs are just nice. He doesn't have anything defending this settlement here, so we're just going to take this pretty quick. Even though my army is reduced right now. You don't have martial prowess like you do for high elves, so you don't need to constantly keep topping off your armies. You want to make sure you don't lose anybody, but you can recruit some people pretty quickly. Now, note here, you have to capture 2,500 battle captives. You have 51 turns to do it, so pretty easy. We're already at 200. Just got to win a lot of battles, take a lot of people, and then you can confederate with Rakarth. And then it's forcing us here to restored port of Nagaranath. So, you know, it's cool. It's whatever. Isle of Wights is not where we build that. I'm guessing it's me Conquata. So, and then we do have a War Hydra here, so we are able to do siege attacks. So you can all see that here in this pane on the left-hand side. It shows if you have a siege attacker, which allows you to attack without needing to build stuff. Plus, we have a Reaper Bolt Thrower as well. So his army actually starts off pretty nicely with Shade's Great Swords. You know, the Bleak Swords and Dread Spears are just trash infantry generally, but he does get good synergy with those. So anyway, pretty cool. Then we'll just take the auto resolve here. Pretty easy. And then I just always like going, if you watch my other video, I like to go for the sack and then I like to go for the conquer. If I'm going to be warring away from home quite a bit, and I'm just kind of constantly on the war path, that's one of the few times where I will just take the loot and occupy, or just the straight occupy. Those dark elves, you really are pressured into going for the loot and occupy just to get slaves, who are one of the very few good income sources. High elves have much more flexibility. So if you play in Vortex, this Ogham Stones is integrated into Albion, which is just one city on this whole island. So just something to keep aware of. The Age of Vortex actually kind of squishes the map a little bit better for you. And then the edge of the map is literally just these two cities here. Troll Fjord and Pack Ice Bay is pulled over along the side, and the map cuts off right here. So you kind of just take the side of the map, try to get along good with all the other Dark Elves. They don't love you so much because you haven't really interacted with them as much, but Karen's car you're friends with, and you really want to try to get that confederation, in my opinion. It's not too far away from you, but here you're seeing attitudes are negative, deteriorating, just aversion to you as that Beastmaster. And I don't really want to fight any wars against Bretonnia right now. High Elves are probably going to be where I turn my attention to after we take care of these Norska, but we'll deal with that in a minute.
Submit to me.
Now, casualties can really help if you're trying to build up slave income really quickly, but I love Infamous Raider. You get increased money from raiding, increased money from looting settlements, increased money from sacking settlements. So, and then once that gets up, you get upwards of 15% here. So it's pretty nice, really good value. It's a great way to just get some money early game and start investing in into some economic resource buildings. And then for this faction specifically, because you're able to just recruit these massive beasts on the go, you have a constant source of units that you can keep pulling from as long as you can win battles in certain climates. And the higher level your boy here gets, the better units he can recruit. And then notably, you can recruit lords here. You get dread lords, high beast masters as well, and then sorceress supremes. Dark magic is kind of weird. Shadows is pretty nice. I do like pendulum. And then fire burning head is pretty good. I know some people don't love it, but I dig it. All right, so and then these empowered Ogum stones are going to give you massive winds of power, plus 20 faction wide, plus 50% income from all buildings in province, plus 9 public order, and then owning factions favored corruption, which is kind of a weird synergy here. So you get the favored corruption here is chaos for our friends. So a little bit like when you're playing Marathi with Cult of Pleasure, you get along fine with the other dark elves, but you don't get along fine when you need to cross each other's territory. Not the best for synergizing in multiplayer when you're doing co-op and you're trying to like divide land that you're conquering together. I don't know. I find it annoying.
Beasts.
We're just gonna come up here. We're just gonna take a couple of Blackheart Corsairs. I just need a little bit of infantry back here to boost up with some ranged. Don't really have much ranged going on except for the Reaper Bolt throwers. So I'll add another line here. Great swords are, a good source of ranged, and they are 130 range on them over the 70. So great swords are pretty awesome. Just great in melee as well. I get that 34 missile strength, which is quite strong. I think the idea behind them was that you would get this parity with Shadow Warriors and Shadow Walkers, but Shadow Warriors are still better in my opinion. Though the stalking is nice, being able to have stealth anywhere on the map can be really helpful. We should be able to roll this to the settlement pretty easily. So it's pushing you here to get to raise Altdorf. You get a black dragon, a stegodon, and 3 giant wolves. If we feel that crazy, we'll go ahead and head in there. We can get there eventually. So we actually have good income rolling in right now. Maintaining these armies is rather expensive, but we'll take the mammoth and the harpies right now. These are not regiments of renown or like the state units that you get as Empire, so once they're gone, they're gone. Again, quick save I like to do just in case one of your big units dies, but getting some XP on these feral mammoths would be kind of nice. Dread spears and bleak swords really struggling a little bit here, but Blackheart Corsairs and Reaper Bolt throwers getting some work. So again, these shades are getting the most work done. And then Rakarth is just getting massive kills for some reason. Who knows?
Let them know fear.
But 25% recoupment of soldiers is pretty boss.
Witness my strength, Rakarth.
I always, like one of my biggest weaknesses, I always forget to do these. Black Arc, I like to get Black Arcs as quickly as I can because even when they lose, they're like legendary lords. You can get them back at any time. And they made some helpful changes to some of our friends. Here we want to just get Isle of Wights done. Which notably... we can't get the dragons here. We can get harpies, scourge runner chariots. Okay, so for his buildings, by the way, you can't really recruit any of those units directly through buildings. You get the typical outpost garrisons that only upgrade once, but then you do get this restored port of Nagranath, massive income generation. Adds walls to the settlement. You get increased per 100 slaves in province. You get increased income. Immune to high seas attrition. It adds this massive garrison. Really good building here, and really not too terribly expensive either. 3264, not bad. And then this one as well, Empowered Ogum Stones, Public Order by 9, Winds of Magic, income from buildings and region by 50%. Well, Restored Port of Nagranath is in region. So I do suggest, some people like to have military buildings in their very home city where they can get advanced military structures really quickly. Here, personally, I think you just want to start getting black roads, and then upgrading these artisan houses pretty quickly. Just start rolling in the dough. You're going to be able to recruit monsters on the go. And then we also have our Black Ark that we can summon here. Just a little bit shy on money, but we'll get him eventually. Did note too, there's some balance changes in this patch with our good friends, the Blessed Dread, getting some nice buffs for their main Black Ark, and their original Black Ark that spawns has a new leader that has some new perks to him to help them grow a little bit faster from their Black Ark. They are sandwiched down there by like 4 major factions. One of the best Skaven factions, one of the best Lizardmen factions, and then the sea on the other side that is a little bit unrelenting and not a lot of great ports to go raid off the bat. And then you also have vampires there as well that are pretty relentless, and high elves if that's not enough. So as that's especially true for the Mortal Empires map, which is pretty fun to play by yourself, I'm not gonna lie. Now I do love to start off here Battle is Business, and then I like to go down to Founded on Tyranny. Chartered Piracy is helpful, and then I also really like both Revel and Suffering and Continuous Slave Supply. Just lots of value. Casualties captured post battle increased by 15%, and port income increased by 5%. So good value here. And then Battle is Business. Anytime you get post battle loot as a flat percentage is always something you should do, in my opinion. Just always good value there. You have to raid, loot, and sack settlements to get money off of Infamous Raider, but you don't have to do it in those other ones. So worth thinking about. Then we have our Boudica. They have these awesome names from Boudica from Great Britain as that infamous or famous, depending on where you stand, Raider of Rome. So something to keep in mind. Then Dark Elves always have like the weirdest ones. The income from slaves and plus 20 growth is pretty good. Post battle loot faction wide is pretty nice, but the slave decline is just brutal. So we're just gonna go for the income and the growth. The faster we can get this stuff built up, while also investing in growth producing buildings, all the better. And then we just kind of have to parry here. I do really like the Albion was kind of like this weird middle ground that couldn't ever decide what it wanted to be, so I'm kind of glad that they've updated that. The one thing that does suck is this faction is like you get the weirdest places are habitable for you, right? Where you get the winter wastelands are habitable. The frozen bitter north is habitable. The normal temperate climate of the Empire and of the coasts of Brion are habitable, but not wasteland. For whatever reason, that's like, oh no, I can't do that. I can live in the cold, bitter, frozen tundra north, but as soon as there are no trees, oh wait, there aren't any trees in the frozen bitter north here either because it's tundra. It's a little bit strange. Not gonna lie. But what are you gonna do? Let's see if we can jump in and get into a battle here pretty quickly. I will say the other thing, one downside in this faction, all your units that you're getting here for free are really expensive to upkeep. Right, so this mammoth coming in at 360. Not the cheapest unit, but you're getting these highly specialized units that usually take 40, 50, 60, 70 turns to build up to in these other factions. you're only getting the feral versions of them, so you're not getting like the, especially lizards have some crazy stuff that they put on the backs of their dinosaurs that they get massive value out of. So you're not getting those, but you are getting value generally. And again, here I'm just investing all in income-producing buildings because of Ogham stones. Just crazy, crazy value that I get out of that. It's a little bit, honestly, like Lothern, where you just get that massive, massive point generation out of that original port for Guillotine. Leoness has already been brought to heel. Leoness is down south, so no idea. No idea who brought that about, but
A legend among beastmasters.
gotta deal with that later. So here, we don't hate these Norcia folks. I think if you were to pick somebody next off the bat, for whatever reason, Scourge of Cain just hates us. High Elves hate us. Brion hates us. So you have plenty of options of who you can choose to wreck here. World Walkers seem to get along fine, and Bjornling seems to get along fine with us. So not a lot that we need to do with them right away. I'd rather just kind of leave them around to annoy and disturb some of our other enemies. I think we can start bringing the fight over to these northern parts of the Empire here.
Submit to me.
The one downside we have going on is you just take forever to get anywhere.
Roll till you bleed.
And we might go for Marienburg right off the bat. Marienburg is kind of the one faction as part of the Empire that doesn't really get along with the others as much. So hopefully they're not allied and don't bring anybody else into this fight. You do get the frozen climate, so it's not as attractive to some of your opponents off the bat. So a little bit slower. Take the money. Nakai the Wanderer hates you for whatever reason, so that's what you get when you want to get your upgraded Whip of Agni. And then you get some Lustrian beasts, so Feral Carnosaur, I'm guessing, so. And an extra
The Druki are restless.
Black Arc.
Dragon Master.
No, you only live once.
The sea beckons.
Why don't we go do this? Croxigores are gonna be annoying here, though. Lots of skinks, so those are pretty easy. But these sacred Croxigores and these regular Croxigores are gonna be a little annoying.
Beasts.
So we probably want to get a few more Dread Spears lined up here, just to bring the fire. And then, it's just Nakai here, so we don't have to worry about mismatch on 4 different heroes, with us only having our Lord and 1 hero in this Beast Lore Sorceress. So. But this feels like, typically I'm always off warring for forever before I'm able to get these battles. So being able to get this straight away before we've really started war with anybody is quite helpful here as well.
Tremble before Rakarth. Beasts ashore.
We'll just recoup a few of our units here. Unfortunately, we don't have enough movement range, just change the stance. But that's okay.
All shall behold my greatness.
I think you're seeing here, growth is going up really quickly. And like I said, I do find, naval training can be helpful. Chartered piracy is really good here too. Just from sacking settlements, 20% increase is fantastic. But growth is also great. So, but we'll start here with just getting that post battle income, and then the upkeep reduction for Black Arc Corsairs is also quite nice.
Bow before Rakarth.
Ah, Beast Pen. It's quite fun though. I really like this guy. I think it's a clever way, and I think we're starting to see in him some ramp up. Him and I would say also the Heralds of Ariel, the Twilight Sisters, who came out recently as well, are probably really good heralds, if you will, of Warhammer 3. What we're going to see as kind of storyline there. So that'll be interesting. Now we already have 2 harpies, so I'm not keen on recruiting more, but we do get these giant wolves straight off. So here we're just gonna recruit 3 dread spears. Again, I'm doing that just so I can get the matchup against those Croxigors. Like, would I rather have shades? Yes, but we're gonna go ahead and take these 3, and then next turn, I don't want to pay the upkeep for them if I don't need to, but next turn we'll take giant wolves, and then we'll jump into the battle.
Witness my strength, Rakarth.
Now, what to do, what to do. I do like Flock of Doom to just kind of slow stuff down. Wild Heart is a little bit weird to augment winds. I mean, it's kind of a cool idea to give you like a pseudo druid class, you know? I don't know. And then Amber Spear is fine. Pan's Impenetrable Belt is decent enough, but not great. So we'll take Amber Spear. I just like having a couple of damage spells in tow in case I need to, you know, harrow a few troops on the edges. But Beast is not my preference of lore, so I'll say that much. You feel differently though. Post that up in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective if it's a little bit different. So refugees getting some positive growth. I'll take it. All right. Take the giant wolves. And save now, just in case I suck. Now, reinforcements. We're getting some trashy Scourge Runner chariots. And, you know, like very mediocre units. And then bringing in Feral Cold Ones, Feral Carnosaurs. It's gonna be an experience, friends. Gonna be an experience. Nakai the Wanderer is like the one guy I always struggled. I haven't actually checked to see if they moved him on the map because he used to start here. So we'll go and check into that as soon as we finish.
Cowardly wretches, hiding from your betters. Your tricks will not protect you from the onslaught of my beasts. They think to free their cold-blooded kin. Their freedom will be found only in obedience. Foolish Nakai, you are nothing but another beast to be broken. I will teach this reptilian scum what it means to truly dominate your foes. We shall send these insolent curs scurrying back to their jungles in fear as I bend their revered spirit to my will.
I do like having Reaper Bolt Throwers. I wish I had a few more of them, but we can make it work. Oh, I hate when you get how it just doesn't let you set up and then just sends your stupid idiot bros straight in. I mean, like, at least we get, you know, flying cavalry manticores on that for that guy. And then this guy is on a Scourge Runner chariot pulled by horses that have been whipped one too many times. Still have like that creepy teeth, like very clearly. You know, they say don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Maybe that's what we should say here. And for those of you unfamiliar with that idiom, it derives from when people would investigate. One of the number one ways to tell a horse's age to see how much you know, work life they have left in them or companionship life they have left in them. It is purely to look inside at their teeth. You know, they don't brush their teeth very often, so it can be a pretty good indication to you for how much they have lived in their good life. Skinks are trash. Uh, Trash missile units as long as we can kind of harry them a little bit. They're good on the. They're like relatively good at melee comparatively to other factions. We should be able to get at them. Great giant wolves. I must confess, I haven't played much Norska, so I'm not used to playing their units. But, you know, you can always right click and learn more. You know, very fast, weak against armor, Vanguard deployment, Forest Stalker. So, you know, lots of bonuses that we're unable to really take advantage of here. But we should be able to get some good damage value out of these guys. Weapon strength pretty good against that armor. So we'll give it a shot. I have to tell you, I hate skirmish mode on these guys. Skirmish mode on Shades also doesn't make sense to me. Let's go ahead and just line up the front here. I feel probably a little bit more confident about this right side with the Manticore. The Scourge Runner Chariots I want to keep alive and make sure they're protected to continue harrowing the enemy. So we'll set up our main force here. Remember, you can hold down space just to see where all your guys are going. And I always like to put good old friends here. Remember, he has two abilities. We have Whiplash, self onto self or an ally. If it's a large, then you can use it, and it's going to give charge speed, base weapon damage, armor piercing weapon, and charge bonus. So pretty good to like whip your own units into battle. And then Beast Lord Gaze stops that rampage, and as soon as we win this battle, we get that giant whip ability where we're able to just punish large units and bend them to our will. All right, we have Harpies setting up here. We're just going to take the rest of these guys and set them up just to the right here. This War Hydra already getting work. And let's just try to get these guys like moderately in here. I hate redeploying siege engines. This is like one of those things I really, really strongly dislike. Just getting siege engines moved. I guess they're almost in range. Let's just set them up here.
Blood will flow.
I'm just gonna lock these guys. Let's just actually lock everything as one. Typically don't like putting everybody in just one big block, but I do love my Logitech keyboard. I have to admit that I also really like the key overlays that they give you. They're quite nice. Whenever you're setting up your keyboard in these war situations, whenever you tag units, they get good setup value. It'll like when I tag one is red, so that key on my keyboard is bound to a red color, which is kind of nice. Oh, just morons, man. Alright, so we got the Croxagore lineup that we wanted. Just get a couple of these guys in here.
Dark elves! Murder awaits! Die, weaklings! Merciless warriors! Dread spears! Hack! Cut!
Alright, we got some retreat here. These guys suck against armor, so just letting the Croxlors charge in one more time. We'll harrow these guys. Send one of these to go follow those Croxlors. They still got 11 of them, so not really eager to get engaged with him again. These guys off. They did their job here.
Nagorothy, onward! End them!
Quick and dirty. Again, just these Croxlors are really all I'm worried about. Then we got the feral cold ones coming in on the left side. So I think we should be able to just set up spears over here.
Murder awaits! Destroy!
Yeah, but these battles are so obnoxious just because you have to deal with units coming back and forth. Remember, you can hold down shift to get good synergy movement as well. So I can like drag my wolves out here and then have them come in for the attack. Salamanders are super obnoxious for their fire damage. And ancient salamander is pretty good damage value as well.
Sorceress of blood!
Like a weird unit. A super obnoxious skink cohort that's just like in the middle of my units. Okay, let's drag over here.
Very well.
Mammoth getting its work in. The salamanders aren't armor piercing. The other ones are. Their names are escaping me, but the other units.
Rakarth! Repositioning.
I forgot about these harpies. I do not love harpies as units. I just find them to be a little bit mediocre. Alright, come on. Hold still, Nakai.
Eager for blood!
Alright, well, we got his Parthok, or whatever, whoever this dude is, ready to rock. I totally thought she was still over here, but she's not.
Eager for battle.
Sorceress of blood!
Stupid Croxlors, man.
Faster! Faster! Bleak swords. Cold-blooded killers. My blade
I think they're
hungers.
probably okay.
Die with
Let's actually get these harpies back.
bolt throwers. Advancing. Cold-blooded killers. Die, weaklings. No survivors. Massacre them.
This Carnosaur really chapping my ass.
Sister of the Dark Convent! Punishing them!
We are ready.
Servant of Hecate!
Use that Wits and Wild form. Ah, I forget you have to click on yourself to get it. Good value. Alright, feral cold ones coming in.
Bleak swords. End them. Blood will flow. Cold-blooded killers.
See if we can get the knock guy here beaten. Having to fight a battle on two fronts is always the worst.
Sorceress!
Easy peasy. Not a ton of work there. Alright, that's probably one of the easiest of those battles I've had to fight. You don't have to build up a lot of units. Took all these guys in and lost basically no one. Feral Wolves actually got their work in. Just being able to harrow those units on the run was really helpful. And Rakarth got absolutely no work done. Oh well. We'll get there. Still gotta get used to him. I'm watching like the ships disappear as if they were actually gonna stay on the map. Captured a Charybdis. And note that when they get added to your monster pens, you're not penalized for just keeping them there. So trophies of Lustria, I got 4 feral cold ones, a Carnosaur, and a Stegodon. So great value there, and we got that whip. So great value right out of the gate. Pretty easy to use.
All shall behold
And we can also bring in one of these fleet admirals. Looks like we actually have 2, so just fleet masters, both of them. But pretty cool. Look, I think this guy's fun. I think he's a cool new chapter in the Warhammer saga. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. Until next time, get out there and get wogging. Bye for now.